If you know me personally, or you've just been familiar with me for a while, you know that I love Pokemon. To get you caught up on my history with the series, don't worry, this won't take long, I've played every Pokemon game through the main story. So from Gen 5 all the way up until now with Gen 8, I just played through the story and didn't really care about anything else. At the time, I was busy playing other games competitively, and I never really had the time to do the things that I really loved about Pokemon. Shiny hunting, PvP, completing the Pokedex. Then Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee came around with a smaller Pokedex, and that gave me a chance to experience that post-game content I was really enjoying so much as a kid. And I'm excited to do the same thing in a much larger game in Pokemon Sword and Shield next month. But there is a group of disgruntled Pokemon fans, and while I disagree with literally all of those arguments, I do want to present an alternative for those fans, an alternative to Pokemon. If you haven't heard about it, perhaps it's worth checking out. The game is called Temtem, and even as someone who loves Pokemon, I'm going to be playing a lot of Temtem when it releases next year. In Temtem, you can use Tem discs, I think they're called, to collect your very own Temtem to use them in battle. But with roughly 160 Temtem planned for the game, why would anybody play Temtem over Pokemon? Well, there are actually quite a few reasons for this. First of all, a smaller amount of collectible monsters might actually be a selling point. No matter how much you enjoy collecting each and every single Pokemon, or in this case Temtem, it is very difficult to deny that collecting the entire dex is a heck of a grind, especially when the vast majority of those Pokemon aren't going to be competitively viable, so you're just collecting them for the sake of collecting them. Speaking of competitive, Temtem has specific rules for competitive gameplay. I was so impressed when I started reading about this because it's an incredibly modern take on competitive rules. It's actually quite a bit similar to another turn-based game with RNG elements, Hearthstone. When you search for a match in competitive Temtem, you'll select 10 different Temtem for your team, and at the start of the game, you and your opponent will take turns banning each other's Temtem. At the end of the picking and banning phase, you'll have 4 Temtem and you'll do battle with those. This helps mitigate one strategy ruling over the entire metagame. It also has a ton of other implications about the competitive metagame of this game. We don't have a lot of time to discuss that in this video, but trust me, this is an amazing feature for high-level gameplay. One feature that I'm really happy to see that Temtem values is Luma Temtem, which is totally not shiny Pokemon. If you've made it to this point in the video, you might be thinking, so Temtem is just a really good Pokemon clone, right? Wrong. Temtem is an amazing Pokemon-like game. It has so many features that a section of the Pokemon community has been begging for years. In-depth player customization, though it does look like Sword and Shield is going to be delivering on that as well. Co-op gameplay, but not just co-op gameplay. Temtem is a massive multiplayer online experience. You'll see other Temtem tamers running around the world of Temtem as you go on your adventure. Your Temtem will follow you around the world so you can show off your Luma Temtem and even create your own house to hang out in and customize it with different pieces of furniture you find throughout the game. And don't get me wrong, Pokemon Sword and Shield is intending to improve upon the social aspects of the game with mechanics like the raid system, but Temtem takes that to an entirely different level. It invokes similar social features to what you expect out of most MMORPGs from the early 21st century, games like RuneScape and World of Warcraft. A semi-open world experience where you can come across other players who are going through the same journey that you are. This is the reason that I'm going to be happy to play both Temtem and Pokemon simultaneously. Temtem is going in such a different direction, and it's going to be such a different gameplay experience. Something else worth mentioning about Temtem is that it's not just going to be on Nintendo Switch. It is going to be on Nintendo Switch, but it's also going to be on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and even PC. And while nothing official has come out, the developers on their Twitter page did retweet something about a crossplay article with PlayStation 4. Maybe they're gonna do crossplay? I don't know. The game is currently in a closed alpha that they aren't accepting new players into, but early access is coming in early 2020 or maybe even later this year. There are 3 mythical Temtem that you can collect, which are basically legendary Pokemon. None of them have been revealed yet, but I'm guessing this was supposed to tease one of them. Again, I want to be clear, I'm excited about both Temtem and Sword and Shield, but the best part of this for me is that they have me excited for 2 completely different reasons. Sword and Shield is shaping up to be one of the best Pokemon games of all time. Each of the new Pokemon have a ton of personality, and the Galarian forms are amazing so far. The game has raid battles, auto-saving, EXP shared throughout your entire team, HMs are gone. All of this comes together to create a much more modern Pokemon game. And if you don't think any of these things are good, well, maybe keep an eye out for Temtem. You can find Temtem on Humble Bundle. I'll leave a link to it in the description. No, this is not a sponsored video. I just really like the concept of the game. I even reached out to Temtem to see if I could get an alpha code, and they wouldn't give me one. I'm a little bit upset about that, but regardless. If after watching this video you're really excited about the project, you can go join their Discord or even follow them on Twitter, both of which you can find very easily on Google if you look for it. And one last thing before I go, I'm actually really impressed with the design of each of the Temtems. I know this video was a bit different. I don't really cover Pokemon. I was actually going to cover Sword and Shield, but the National Dex conversation was just too toxic for me, and I was like, alright, I'm just gonna go back to what I normally do. I'm sure some of you are still wondering where the Once Justice 2 prediction video is. Don't worry, it will definitely be this week. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it all the way through, perhaps maybe let me know in the comment section and leave a like on the video. I don't know. My name has been Bilbzy, and I'll be sure to see you in the next one.